I think a lot about Meteor, the purity in them. Boom, the end. Start again. The world made clean for the new man to rebuild. I was meant to be new. I was meant to be beautiful. The world would have looked to the sky and seen hope, seen mercy. Instead, they'll look up in horror because of you. You've wounded me.
Welcome everybody, I'm RJ of the Nerdy Brew, and here on this channel we talk TV, movies, and everything in between, all while drinking a cup of coffee. Now if you like one of those things or all of those things, why don't you consider like, subscribing, and hit that notification bell, and becoming a fellow Brewster. So today, fellow Brewsters, I wanted to have a café hablo, a coffee talk, and thank you for stopping by. And I hope everything is well with you. Thank you for having this cup of coffee with me. But I want to talk about DC Studios. Earlier this year, James Gunn, the director of the Guardians of the Galaxy films, and his production partner, Peter Safran, they are the heads of DC Studios that is owned by Warner Brothers. James made an announcement video that moving forward with his slate will be chapters, and the first ones will be called Gods and Monsters. That will start with Superman Legacy, and I did a breakdown of that video, how that might look. So he announced that there will be a Peacemaker season 2, and Amanda Waller will also get her own show. So both of those characters are from the Snyderverse. Viola Davis has been Amanda Waller, both Suicide Squad films, also Margot Robbie, and then Viola Davis also had her appearance in Peacemaker season 1. And Peacemaker is a direct sequel to James Gunn's Suicide Squad.
Everybody fucking hates you. This guy very computer friendly, but you push away like you push everybody. What he could do up fucking dick.
What makes this all confusing, at the end of his show, Snyder's Justice League appears in that show. So then there's the Flash, and that's Aquaman as well. Then we have the ending of Shazam, and the Peacemaker characters are there to introduce the JSA that was also in Black Adam. Now, in the Flash, the first part of the movie takes place within the Snyderverse. Batfleck is there, and Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman is there.
Sorry, mate. Watch your step. Nice suit. Looking good, Flash.
Thank
You are welcome.
My ego's far too big to say thank you to someone else who developed this all-powerful product.
I too have childhood trauma. Myself, truly, Lord.
Never gets old.
I know sex exists, I've just never experienced it.
Well, I have to run. Always a pleasure.
The sex thing was a metaphor.
Then he has his movie. I liked it, by the way. The multiverse is a thing now, and George Clooney is back as Bruce, but Jason Momoa is still Aquaman, and Ezra Miller is still the Flash. So the other day, Gal Gadot, was promoting her new film and said that she was doing Wonder Woman 3.
I love portraying Wonder Woman. It's so close to and dear to my heart. And from what I heard from James and from Peter is that we're going to develop a Wonder Woman 3 together.
Then the news reported from James Gunn, like, nah, that's not gonna happen. They're remnants of the Snyderverse, but they want to add something new. That's like adding bad seasoning to another bad dish. So with all of it being such a hodgepodge of a mess, the best you can do is start fresh. So here's where I come in. So if Warner Brothers were to ask me, in my mind, you came to the right guy, right? And we start off fresh, MCU model, but this is an alternative reality there isn't any competition between Marvel and DC, and I'm someone in Hollywood with authority to run a cinematic universe, and I have a hat too. And so in this video, I'll speak specifically about my Phase 1 slate and the actors to portray the heroes, similarly to how the MCU was at Hall H and they did their introduction for the Avengers and who the cast was going to be. So that's what we're going to do here. This is not going to be a long video, but we will start with the slate. So first and foremost, what we're starting with this cinematic universe, we're going to start with Green Arrow. So now Green Arrow is going to get the Iron Man treatment. Now he's been more popularized later years. He had one episode inside of Super Friends, but then they brought his character back in the JLU. So people who were able to watch that show or growing up with that show, they saw him on there. He's always been a mainstay in comics, but they widened out his character in more media, especially to let people know that he exists. But he's not one of the mainstays. He's not the Flash. He's not Batman or Wonder Woman or Superman. So, you know, he's not a bigger tier. So you like, why are you starting out with Green Arrow? So Green Arrow, how this is going to work within my universe is that he's going to get the Iron Man treatment in the sense of being lower tier superhero that's not in the zeitgeist. Even though, you know, we had Stephen Amell as Arrow, in my particular world, Arrow, that show doesn't exist. We are living in the multiverse, in an alternative universe. RJ's mind is going to work, and we're going to have him be in the forefront. And the story that I kind of see it would be reminiscent of Batman Begins. What that entails is him learning and him confronting his villain. And then also it's going to be an origin story for him, but it's also laying the foundation. And with it being an origin story, it's not just an origin story for Green Arrow himself. It's an origin story to set up how this world is interconnected. And as we move forward with my Phase 1, I will specifically talk about how I envision these movies, but right now this is just an announcement video. So first and foremost, we're gonna start with Green Arrow, and after I say the slate, how I want to release the movies, I will tell you my cast. So stay tuned for that. So then we'll have Book of Batman Volume 1. So Batman has his own story, but it's going to be building on the arc of the phase that was started in Green Arrow. And the Book of Batman Volume 1, so having it as the Book of Batman, we will have different chapters, we'll have different points in his life to culminate as the character, to have a well-rounded story and a well-rounded Bruce Wayne and a well-rounded Batman. And there's certain elements that happen in Batman's life that I kind of want to touch into and kind of break it down as a movie with like a chapter book narrative, you know. And that's what kind of will make that version unique. But at the same time, this is also me with my creative licensing of molding how this Batman will interact and what molds his story to make him his own unique Batman for this universe. So even though it's building off of what we started, it's definitely isolated for who he's gonna be as Batman and what the movie and the story is. So then we'll have The Flash. All of these got subtitles, by the way. But next we have The Flash, the fastest man alive. The point of this movie will be the start of metahumans in this universe. How are we able to have these two grounded vigilante real world heroes? Metahumans work, how does powers work, how do these villains work in this kind of world? And we'll just have the Flash as a linchpin where he starts off with his own dealing with his powers, We kind of didn't have that within the Ezra Miller Flash movie. And so we can have like an origin story for the Flash, but because it's the Flash, we're gonna introduce metahumans as well. So it doesn't seem out of the world of extraordinary, right? So we could weave it in naturally to have this to be inside the world. So it'll be the start of that, of the Flash, the fastest man alive. Then we're gonna get into Wonder Woman in the Mystics, if that makes any sense. I'm still trying to think about the intricacies of it, plot for plot narrative, but basically it's introducing magic and the supernatural in this world. It might not be a Wonder Woman origin story, but it will make basis of how magic exists, and it is also like these characters have been here and why we need them. And also how I see it will be like a civil war already in phase 1, where it's a culmination of different heroes, but it's also still building on the connected universe and the storylines that we're building through. But yes, it's going to be a big movie. It's going to probably be like Justice League 1.5, just dealing with more of the mystical aspects of the characters and dealing with magic inside this world and what it is. But it's definitely Wonder Woman's story and how she needs to deal with it. So that's Wonder Woman and the Mystics. So then we get to Green Lantern Corps, Rage of Atrocities. So that is going to be introducing Green Lantern lore, and also aliens and the cosmic. I'm kind of thinking about having it as a two-way story of two different time periods and then converging in the present day. But that will also be a culmination movie of different characters. And then also, you know, there's different spectrums, and with it being different spectrums of this cosmic light, this emotional spectrums that they have, all these different Green Lanterns or these different lanterns, if you have Atrocities dealing with the rage, and then it's also a foundation of why, and for those who don't know, there's history eon ago of how the Guardians of the Universe, they had their Manhunters, and Manhunters were the precursor to Green Lantern, and how they ended up malfunctioning and doing what they do. That's something that we're gonna probably build into, and for him to have his vengeance and his reasoning to, you know, have his rage. But also it's building on the spectrum and where we're gonna go for the Green Lantern saga, however that may look. So that would be Green Lantern Corps, Rage of Atrocities, and introducing the cosmic aspect of this galaxy. But last but not least is gonna be Superman, Last Son of Krypton. So you're like, yo, how you saving Big Blue for last? Well, he's not last, but it's gonna be last of the individual movies, right? The thing is, it's gonna be a Superman origin story, and it's also for this world, for Superman, is going to be him being inspired by the other heroes. So all the things that happened prior brings a revelation to our world, and Superman, as Clark Kent, sees this, and he decides to use his abilities as everyone else is. That's why it's very important for Green Arrow and Batman to be introduced, so they could have a basis of having inspiration for the other heroes of being just regular dudes. So I don't know, you know, the heroes would know that just yet, but they'll be seeing that these two men have started, you know, taking action to these things, and everybody will be inspired by what they did. So the Flash does it as well. And so then we'll also have, you know, Superman, who's also inspired by that. But I haven't really thought about how much of his movie should be, what the backstory is, or the most likely Lex Luthor, but it's definitely an introduction, and it's a Superman origin story. It wouldn't be a Clark Kent origin story in the sense of, oh, Krypton exploded and his time with his family. You know, it's very important to know his time in the Midwest of Smallville and its characteristics, but I just think the quality of character for him to already feel like he needs to be Superman, yeah. But has this Superman been tested? So that's probably the direction of what that film would be, is that Superman being tested. But now we're gonna get into the final culmination of where everything was leading to, would be Justice League Injustice for All. That's where everything is leading up to. So Justice League Injustice for All is a Legion of Doom, would be the bad guys for this film. And it's like, how do these heroes work together, divided? And I was just thinking in my mind, I'm gonna be honest with you, I was gonna do a video, or I was just thinking and I was pondering, right? Yo, I think that the Masters of Evil should have been the first set of villains inside the Avengers of the MCU. But I was like, wait a minute, I could create my own. What does that look like? And I was like, yo, just flip it with the Legion of Doom. And I was like, yo, I know exactly how that would look if we do have the Legion of Doom, and who would be pulling the strings. And most of y'all might think Lex Luthor, but no, I'm changing stuff up to definitely make it my own story with elements that are already inside DC. But what this slate does is not having it wishy-washy with a little bit of this, with a little bit of that. It's fully connective tissue. Each one, you can consider it as chapters, or how you consider the MCU. The MCU, at least phases 1 through 3, was one long television series. And I think Civil War was a great season finale, you know? So when they made it to these pivotal moments, or even Age of Ultron, these things were, but I'm saying it was a season finale. Age of Ultron was the season finale. So you have these season finales, and I was just thinking, having it follow through, this is so-and-so's episode, or this is the Flash's episode, this is Wonder Woman's episode, this is the Green Lantern's episode. Okay, so all of these through lines come together. Here's this TV show, and here's this finale. So basically from that model, so that's how I always see it coming together. And how do they come together, and how are they divided, and what does it look like, who they are separately, in an extraordinary situation. So that's what my plans are for the entire slate. But let's talk about the cast of the heroes of this world. And so first and foremost, I want to talk about Alex Pittifer as my Green Arrow. So Alex Pittifer was in I Am Number 4, and he was in the first Magic Mike. Don't ask me how I know about that, but I'm just saying that I do. Actually, I'm gonna just be honest. I had a girlfriend at the time. We went to go see the movie. I was nice enough to go do that. But with all that being said, who he is now, he's a dirty blonde. He's a young and handsome man. And also with these characters, I'm trying to get as comic book accurate as possible. So that's what's going to be with the rest of the cast. So that's what I'm thinking about, is Alex Pittifer. But I will have Ethan Peck as Batman Bruce Wayne, because of his work as Spock in New Worlds, in Strange New Worlds.
It seems this particular group of Illyrians wanted to join the Federation. As Federation law forbids genetic manipulation, this group is attempting to reverse its DNA modifications to gain entry, de-engineering themselves, as it were.
His characterization of being Spock, I just feel like, and his body build and his dark hair. He's also Gregory Peck's grandson as well. Famous actor from old school Hollywood, for those who don't know. But definitely Ethan Peck as my Bruce Wayne, and that's who we'll envision for carrying through. Just because of his work in Spock. And I recommend that show if you're not watching it. 2 seasons, 20 episodes that you could binge right now. And it's just a real fun show. So I recommend it. But if you want to see him, I recommend Star Trek, but it's Ethan Peck. Glenn Powell as Barry Allen, / the Flash. I think he has the more classic look of what Barry Allen looks like. Especially how they have Barry Allen in the New 52. And I read the majority of the Flash run of the New 52. Actually, I did. I read all of those issues of the Flash in the New 52. Yeah, I think that he would be a good characterization. I was actually teeter-tottering with him being Hal Jordan, who's also the Green Lantern. I was like, yo, he could be, from his work in Top Gun and from his work in Devotion, I was like, yo, he could be a really good Green Lantern. He could be a very good Green Lantern. But I thought about my plan of continuing to have character accuracy. And I think for the best of pulling page to screen, I think that he would be the best as Barry Allen, as the Flash. Now it's Eva D. Domenici as Wonder Woman or Deanna Prince, and I watched The Cleaning Lady. That's on Fox. It's on Hulu. Has 2 seasons. And she is her character is a supporting character in the show. But because of her performance in the show and what we got from Gal, I've always considered Wonder Woman American. Maybe because her characterization from the old 1970s show, or maybe because her characterization in Justice League, I always thought of her just being an American-based hero. But because we have Gal Gadot, that doesn't have to take place. That doesn't really matter. So I'm just thinking about someone ethnic and somebody exotic. The actress is Argentinian, so it'd be fine for an accent to be present. And yeah, that's who I would cast as Wonder Woman. Now, Green Lantern, I'm gonna have 2 in my movie. I think that's the one thing that James Gunn got right, of having like a true detective story. Mine is gonna be more of a spy, espionage, threat kind of story, but it's Chris Pine and Trevante Rhodes as these Green Lanterns. Chris Pine would be Hal Jordan, older Hal Jordan, seasoned Hal Jordan, who has been doing the job for quite some time. In his absence, for us to not know, he's been off Earth, he's been off planet. He does protect, but he just hasn't been around. And Trevante Rhodes will be the rookie, but the difference in their personalities, crux of the problem, because Trevante Rhodes would be very military and very rigid. Chris Pine would be very much his characterization as Captain Kirk, where lackadaisical, I don't believe in no-win situations. I know how to rise to the occasion at the particular time, but I know that I have to come out on top. But Trevante Rhodes as John Stewart would be more military-minded, more rigid, more focused, and he's a rookie, so he's not gonna be as laxed in dealing with the situation. So that's who I would cast as Green Lantern, Chris Pine and Trevante Rhodes. But that's just for phase 1. The movies and my ideas will turn totally different when it comes to Justice League, and we'll talk about it when we get to the Justice League film. And then I have Trey Tucker as Clark Kent / Superman. Now you're like, who is this Trey Tucker? I watched the show Hills. I talked about it in my top 10 shows of 2021, and he plays a character in there named Bobby Pins, I think that's his wrestling name, is Bobby Pins. But his character, first of all, he's a big solid dude. I think he's like 6'3" in real life, but he a big dude. But his characterization, upsetting events. He goes through a lot of upsetting events within the show, and he doesn't break his character. He doesn't become bitter. He doesn't become vengeful. And his character is full of Southern hospitality. And just how he carries himself, his build, his facial structure, all of that, I can see him being Superman. And like right now, he's kind of built like how Tom Welling was in the later seasons of Smallville. And currently, you know, depending if he wants to get in shape or not, I could see him, his current body build, or if he wanted to get in Superman shape, he has the capabilities of doing that as well. And just his characterization as Bobby Pins is an archetype example of how he would destroy the role of Clark Kent. And the thing is, the only difference of his characterization as Bobby Pins from Clark Kent is that he has a deep Southern Georgian accent within the show.
Y'all need me. Bobby Bean, get your funky ass ready. Come on here. Cause ain't nobody
in the DWL that could do this. New guy, what's the matter with you?
Huh?
Why ain't you hurt?
Because it didn't hurt.
Okay.
From the top?
Get your ass up there.
Oh, man, I'm sorry. I didn't know. What was that you saw in the pain? That's really good, man.
No, asshole, that shit really hurt.
Oh, what did I do wrong?
And I know that he's acting. So if you were to tone down or get rid of that accent and just have him have a generic American accent, it's the same character. And now how do we put that character inside of Superman? So that's what I see of him becoming a Superman. So that's going to be my cast of all of those actors that we just went through of who would be inside of my DCMU. So thank you for sitting down and having this cup of coffee with me, having this conversation with me. Let me know your thoughts, all of them. I'll take all the thoughts. I want to give a shout out to Chef Matt Reviews. I will link down, well, he commented last video, and I also will leave a link to his channel. He's a friend of the channel. We worked on a project together, and also I've reacted to some of his fan-made trailers, so I'm going to also link it at the end of the video. Please, if you're new here, go look around, have some more coffee with me. We have some more stuff on the channel. Help us with some watch time, help us with some likes. Yeah, we'll just do that. And also, you know, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Do all the things that YouTubers ask to do. And if you happen to subscribe, look at the community page. At some point, I'm going to make an announcement really soon. My stuff ain't been circulating how I need it to be. I guess I'm not trending that much. But that's neither here nor there. But if you happen to come along, thank you for doing so. I definitely appreciate it. Trying to still grow out the channel. And as I said in my last video, link is that I'm trying to transition my life to try to do this full time. Definitely. I love doing it and I like doing it, and I just appreciate your help in that venture, so we can make it happen. But with all that being said, I'm going to bring this video to an end, and I want you to be you, do you, see the bigger picture. Have a fantastic day, because you deserve it. This is that channel. Peace.
Cut mouth on top, Kung Fu, Bruce Lee chop, more rocks, go Red Sox, tryna go far like Boondocks, headshot, blusty hawk, talk a shit, gotta pull up on a block, you fraud, I'm Couchgod, none got a tax like a state charge, safe house. Safe house. Safe house. Safe house.